Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Justina. Welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. So here in today's video, I'm going to talk about Saturn. Saturn is moving into Pisces next year. It's a big event of 2023. Saturn will stay in Pisces until 2026. It will move out from Pisces in 2025 for a few months, then return back into Pisces, and then in 2026 it will move into Aries, and here it will return into Pisces only after around 29 to 30 years. So here with Saturn in Pisces, moving into Pisces on March the 7th, this is something that will impact all of us collectively. Saturn here was in Aquarius and in Capricorn in the last 5 years, first in Capricorn and in Aquarius, the signs where it is strong. So here Saturn is about structure and tradition, law, regulation. Here Saturn, when Saturn is in a sign where it doesn't feel strong, well, in Pisces, this could be about dissolution of old tradition, old laws or regulations, old structures. Those structures connected to government, for example. So lots of changes will take place here starting from 2023, when we are going to move away from old traditions, laws, regulations, slowly, gradually, especially since Pluto will also move into Aquarius, a very futuristic and future-oriented sign. Here what Saturn and Pisces have in common is the fact that Pisces is the last sign of the Zodiac, often connected to endings, and Saturn is the lord of karma, connected to the end of life. So we are going to be dealing with some endings as we move into the future, into the Aquarian age, which we have already started to move post-pandemic, the COVID and all the lockdowns that we experienced in 2020. So here, if you want to jump straight into your horoscope, then please check the timestamps either in the description box below this video or in the comment section. So let's begin. All right, so here for Aries rising, this transit will be in your 12th house. So here the 12th house is connected to endings, is connected to withdrawal, solitude, but also here this is connected to soul searching. Now during this time with Saturn here in 12th house, so believe it or not, in traditional astrology, Saturn is considered pretty well placed in the 12th house. The reason for that is that it can't manifest its negative qualities while it stays in the 12th house. So perhaps it might not fully restrict you or limit you to a huge extent. However, at the same time, Saturn here will want you to let go of whatever doesn't belong in your life anymore. So basically, you're letting go, you're moving away from old structures, old beliefs, old routines or habits that no longer belong in your life. Not at this point, but perhaps in a year or two, because here you are dealing with ending. You're ending an important phase in a cycle in your life. So this is a time of clearing away. This is a time when, when things that perhaps worked out until now might no longer work the same way, might no longer bring fruitful results or outcomes. So in a way, you are changing and getting ready for this new cycle that will begin when Saturn moves into Aries in February 2026. So here, this is about self-improvement. This is about gaining a greater understanding of the self on a deeper level without relying on other people's opinions, without relying on other people's perhaps point of view, because this is about a self-discovery on a deeper level through soul searching, through meditation. This is also a time when you might feel like going on a spiritual retreat. You might meet new people who are like-minded, who are also going through a similar journey as you, a journey of a self-discovery. Now, many people with Saturn transiting their 12th house become pregnant, have a child. So this is a time also of withdrawal and loneliness to a certain extent when you become a parent, when you become a mother. And this could be also the case for you. If your rising sign is Aries and you've got Saturn transit in your 12th house, you might become a parent, you might get pregnant, you might conceive. So here, this is also a time when you'll be doing things from behind the scene, and parenting is very much connected from working from behind the scene. When you become a parent, when you have a baby, you are at home, you spend lots of time at home with your baby, especially in the initial phase. Now here the 12th house is also connected to endings, and also here you might be not only ending an important phase or chapter in your life, but at the same time you will be reviewing and reassessing, reevaluating the last 30 years of your life, or even the last 5 years of your life, when Saturn transited the 10th and the 11th house of your life. So whatever didn't work out, you are likely to just forget about it and prepare yourself for something bigger and larger, because that's what the first house Saturn transit will be about in 2026 moving forward. So here, even though with Saturn in the 12th house, you might feel like spending time alone, you might feel like withdrawing every now and then. At the same time, you are going to perhaps learn to meditate. You are going to learn a lot about yourself. You might also go through a healing journey, and a very therapeutic journey as well, because you might also seek help from healers, from people who will help you to let go of old wounds, for instance. Now, here at the same time, bear in mind that these low energies and perhaps the feeling of feeling like you don't fit in or you don't belong anywhere will not last continuously. This will be especially prominent at the very beginning of this transit, at the end, but also if Saturn conjoins or makes connection with other planets in your birth chart, especially the ones in your 12th house. At the same time, bear in mind you've got beautiful transits going on in 2023. And this is Jupiter in your sign. The nodes are moving into Aries as well. So here I'm only focusing on Saturn here in Pisces in doing 2023-2026, but there is so much more going on. But here, for the purpose of this video, I only focused on Saturn. So thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. All right, so hello Taurus, and welcome to your forecast for Saturn's transit in Pisces. And this is happening in your 11th house. So here the 11th house is placed in the upper part of your chart. So this is about your outside world. So here over the course of about 3 years, you will have an opportunity to build solid connections with others, solid friendships, to really set yourself goals. And you will have this ability or opportunity at least to work towards them consistently. Now here with Saturn in the 11th house, it might not be as colorful as perhaps with Jupiter's transit in the Pisces, because Saturn is about structure, consistency and responsibility. So here Saturn in the 11th house, this transit will greatly depend on how you dealt with Saturn's transit in Aquarius. So perhaps if you generally with Saturn, if we avoid responsibility, if we avoid the challenges that are presented for us by Saturn's transit, then we don't get rewarded and we find it even more challenging to deal with future similar situations. So just to give you an example here, if perhaps if you worked consistently here towards your career goals and you tried to face your fears and overcome them, then Saturn is likely to reward you here during this transit in Pisces. Teamwork might result to be pretty fun and interesting. However, if you avoided your work-related responsibilities during Saturn's transit in Aquarius, then you might find working in a team pretty daunting and dreadful. You might feel like your coworkers are giving you extra responsibilities. They stand in the way towards your success or career growth. However, the challenge here with Saturn, if you experience this kind of situation, is to make sure that you face these challenges, face them, and try to fix them, because if you avoid them, then it will be even more difficult to grow in the career sense and also as an individual and soul being. So make sure that you face your challenges and you go along with them, because with time you might see that Saturn will reward you. Perhaps you might be moved to a different department, or generally people in your team might change. So it doesn't have to last forever, but perhaps it could be a test. You might be tested by Saturn, and your goal or your role will be to face this challenge. Even if you fail, it's still a lesson. Now here with Saturn also in the 11th house, this is also about changes that you might experience in your social circle. So there could be some frustration, there could be some, well, there could be people that might leave your social circle, perhaps said their role in your life ended its purpose, and you'll be moving into a different social circle, meeting new people. But generally, you take a more responsible and a more serious approach to your friendships with this transit. Saturn is a rather serious planet, and here there's no joking or playing around. You seek serious friendships, long-term friendships at this time, nothing superficial or short-term. So perhaps your social circle might shrink, however, only because you seek meaningful friendships in your life. Now here, when it comes to your goals and hopes, during this time, and here again, if you worked consistently and fairly towards a certain goal, then Saturn might help you to bring it to fruition. You might see some fruitful results, not instantly, because with Saturn, this is about a consistent and an effective work. Now, however, since Saturn here bring rewards for hard work, you might be rewarded accordingly. Now, if you take shortcuts, then Saturn is not going to reward you, but perhaps bring even more challenging and difficult situations for only to help you to learn your lessons in order for you to grow in this area of life. So as you can see, here with Saturn, you will have to take a responsible approach when trying to reach your dreams, your hopes, your goals. Your social circle might change, might shrink, as I mentioned earlier, but here you seek meaningful and long-term friendships. Now, this could be a time when you might be attracted to older people as well, because here Saturn rules old age, and you might be also attracted to older people, older friends, people who might also be your teachers or people from who you might learn about generally their wisdom. You might be attracted to their wisdom, to their life experiences. All right, so here we go. Saturn in the 11th house. Thank you very much. And let's move into the next sign. Hello, Geminis, and welcome to your horoscope for Saturn's transit in Pisces. And this transit will happen in your 10th house. So here the 10th house is one of the most important houses in the birth chart. Now, the reason for that is that it represents your career, your public image, your public status as well. And Saturn can bring lots of different rewards or losses. This greatly depends on basically what happened in your life 14 years ago. because here Saturn will be in opposition to your fourth house cusp, to your IC, and this is your home and family foundation. 14 years ago, you laid the foundation connected to your emotional safety and security, your home, your family. So depending on how you did it and how much energy you put into that area of your life during that time, here you will experience Saturn's transit in the 10th house accordingly, because here you might have increased responsibilities at your work, you might work longer hours, you might receive a recognition. So the recognition that you receive, if you receive, will greatly depend on how much work you put into your career life, into your work over the last few years. Saturn rewards hard work, consistency. So here, many Geminis might be rewarded, might be promoted into a more senior role. Perhaps this could be a role connected to leadership, or a role that is connected to increased responsibility. So this is all great, but you will have to make sure that you find a healthy balance between your work life, your career life, and your home life, because you will be needed at your work. Here, the 10th house, the outside world area, is activated, the upper chart, but at the same time, here the 4th house will also need some attention. So you will have to make sure that you balance well these energies, because very easily you can neglect the home area because of the success that comes, because of even the increased responsibilities, longer hours, or even the losses that you may experience depending on your circumstances. Because with Saturn brings very serious energy, and you will become very serious about your public status, about your career goals. This is about a long-term vision for your future. Saturn doesn't like to mess about, and Saturn in Pisces will dissolve anything that is old, that outlived its purpose. So many Geminis might be also changing their careers, moving into a completely new career. However, it won't be an overnight process. It will take maybe even a year or so. However, whatever the scenario here, when Saturn moves into Pisces, into your 10th house, here your career life will become very important, and Saturn can bring delays. Saturn can bring frustration and limitation, especially for those who didn't set their goals in a realistic way. So perhaps you were over optimistic during Jupiter's transit in Pisces, and perhaps you had set yourself too high expectations. And now with Saturn coming into your 10th house, you might experience a loss or a failure, and you will feel bad about yourself. You will feel like you're not succeeding. But perhaps the reason for that is because you set too high expectations for yourself, or perhaps too unrealistic expectations. So here you need to take a very sober approach into your career, especially if things aren't working out. You will have to take a deep look and see, what is it that you want to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years? Where is it that you're heading with your career? Do you need to change your career, or perhaps your approach, or perhaps you need to study? You might want to enroll on professional development courses in order to improve your skills. Now, for those who will succeed during this transit, who will be rewarded, for those who have been working hard over the last few years, now this might be the case for many people who are already in a later stage of their life. And here Saturn might bring those rewards, recognition, promotion, and increased responsibility. So here it's important that you remain consistent, and you carry on and work hard towards your goals. Right, so for many Geminis as well, your status might change, because Saturn rules also public status. So whether you're married or engaged, or you become a parent, this is also ruled by Saturn and the 10th house. Here Saturn will square your 7th house this year, so you might also experience some challenges in your love sphere. However, in this video, I'm purely focusing on the Saturn's transit in the houses, and in a different video, we'll explore slightly different energies of what Saturn aspect might bring for us collectively and individually. So thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Cancers, and welcome to your horoscope for this, well, Saturn's transit in the sign of Pisces. This is happening in your 9th house. So the 9th house deals with our belief system, our life principles, higher education, foreign travel, and any legal matters. So here Saturn can bring delays. Saturn can bring frustration, loss. In Pisces, this can also bring a situation when you might be confused about your belief system, about your life principles. So you might be also either redefining them, or you might be completely moving away from them. So from your old belief system, your life principles. So here Saturn can bring a certain degree of crisis in this area of life. Now, at the same time, with Saturn in the 9th house, this is about taking a sober and a responsible approach when it comes to learning and studying. So you might decide you want to learn a new language throughout this transit, or perhaps this is connected, it could be connected to studying. And generally, any activities that will help you to broaden your horizons, broaden your wisdom, these are likely to be supported by Saturn's transit. However, anything meaningless, these experiences or activities, or even meaningless travels, trips, might bring frustration, might not go the way you have planned. So just to give you an example, if you have planned like some spontaneous trip that wouldn't be connected to higher learning, that wouldn't be connected to you learning something from this trip, or perhaps if this is connected to your business, so if it's just like a simple meaningless trip, for example, then there could be delays, there could be cancellations, and generally the whole experience might not be pleasant. Saturn wants you to concentrate on experiences that will help you to progress in your life, move forward, experiences that could help you to evolve. So here Saturn is the planet of structure, responsibility. So here Saturn will reward any activities that will allow growth. So here, if you want to study, you will have to take a serious approach and be consistent without taking shortcuts, because here again, you might fail, you might experience a loss if you don't take these things seriously. Now with Saturn also, you might deal with legal matters, so you might apply for citizenship, you might also apply for some important documents, or generally deal with important legal paperwork documents during this time. That will generally change the course of your life. Perhaps you might gain a citizenship or a passport, generally things that are really important, that are connected to long-term vision, a long-term project. So here with the 9th house also, this is about your life mission, your life direction. So you might be also learning about that, because here Saturn might also make you question the meaning of life, the sense of life. So here you might be also diving slightly deeper into gaining a better understanding of your life purpose, of your life mission. So here with Saturn in Pisces, this is about the dissolution. You might be generally moving away from anything that outlived its purpose. So here, perhaps your belief system, your life philosophy. At the same time, Saturn is about structure, consistency, discipline. This would be a good time for starting a higher education course, for learning a new language, because Saturn will help you to really focus your energies and become consistent. So if you want to achieve something in this area of life, don't let anyone to disturb this goal, to distract you, because there is a great chance that you can really create something really meaningful that will help you in your career success once Saturn moves into Aries in 2026. Because let's not forget that whatever we learn in the 9th house, during ninth house major transits. These experiences can help us greatly in career growth and success during major transits in the 10th house. Right, so here also with the ninth house, this is connected to teaching, to writing, to generally even becoming a lawyer, becoming a teacher, publishing your first book. But here again, you need to take a very sober, responsible approach in whatever that you do. With Saturn here, you might be also studying abroad or working abroad temporarily, because Saturn is also about increased responsibility. So here perhaps this could be related to a business trip that could occur throughout this transit, or perhaps studying abroad. All right, so thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Leos, and welcome to your horoscope for Saturn's transit in Pisces. So here this transit will occur in your 8th house. The 8th house deals with money that comes through other sources than your regular income. This is also the house that deals with joint finances and resources that you may have with your partner or your business partner. This is also the house of transformation and regeneration. So here, when Saturn comes here, this could be a time when you take a deep look at yourself, because in a way, Saturn's transit in the 8th house can lead to self-empowerment. However, it might not be apparent straight away. So here with Saturn and Pisces in your 8th house, you are moving away from any old habits, emotions, wounds, anything that's deeply rooted inside you. So you face your fears, you face your phobias, perhaps some deep emotions, deep feelings, and you try to transform them into something more positive. So you're moving away from anything that's disturbing and negative in your life, because here Saturn here can generally will in Pisces can dissolve anything that's old and outlived. At the same time here with Saturn in the 8th house, you'll be more aware, more conscious about your own mortality, about death, about life after death. So this kind of topics will kind of go through your mind. You might become interested, you might be contemplating, and generally you're not only your own death, but perhaps death in general. And here with the 8th house Saturn also, because of this awareness about the death and mortality, you might also think about your retirement, and you might be worried or more aware of how much money you've got saved for your retirement. Generally, you might be thinking about your old age, about what you want to do when you retire. Do you have enough resources and finances to live well? And generally, this kind of thoughts might go through your mind, and this could also result in you having to or wanting to make some important decisions that will have a long-term prospect, generally that will influence or impact your life for a long time. So perhaps you might become more serious about some important investments that you want to make that would benefit financial growth for your future. Now at the same time with Saturn in the 8th house, the way Saturn might also manifest is that you might also the money that comes through different sources than your income might be limited. So perhaps if you apply for a loan or a mortgage, it might not always be easy to achieve that. Perhaps you might have to provide more paperwork, or you might have to wait longer. So generally getting money through banks, or generally getting your mortgage sorted might not come as easily as usual, because this money might be restricted. There could be some limitations, and this could be as a result of change of regulations. Perhaps you might not meet the criteria. So this could also play out in this way. Now, since the 8th house is the second house of our significant other, their financial situation might also be slightly restricting and perhaps you might have to become more independent, more self-sufficient. You might have to seek additional income revenues, additional ways to generate more income, or generally you might have to find ways to save more money or spend less. So generally here restrictions might come in the financial sphere, but at the same time Saturn might make you more responsible and more mature when it comes to financial growth and the future of your finances. So here, well, having said that, you might have to become more independent, financially independent, if you aren't already more self-sufficient. Here, the 8th house deals with money that comes through different sources than our regular income, but also this is about resources that come through other people, and these resources, these finances might be restricted, limited throughout this transit. This is also related to some government schemes or childcare benefits, perhaps. These might also be reduced temporarily as a result of external influences, like, for example, recession or the life crisis that we are experiencing on a global level. So here are some examples for you, but at the same time with the 8th house Saturn, this is about self-mastery, this is about self-empowerment, this is about self-improvement as well in the long term. So thank you very much, Leos, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Virgos, and welcome to your horoscope for Saturn's transit in the sign of Pisces. This transit will happen in your 7th house. So here the 7th house deals with relationships, partnerships, love, marriage. This is also about relationships we have with people who help us with a certain progress, certain goal and idea. So like editors or architects, designers. Right, so what does it mean to have Saturn transiting your 7th house? So this is a testing time for your relationships. And here with Saturn, relationships that have struggled in the past, relationships that were unhealthy, draining, even suffocating, are likely to dissolve, are likely to break. So here Saturn will bring valuable lessons and experiences, and if these lessons won't be overcome, then these relationships will not last. And perhaps this is for the better, because Saturn here helps you to evolve and to learn about yourself through others, through relationships. However, if this relationship doesn't really make any purpose, doesn't bring any purpose in your life, has lost its purpose, I should say, then here it will be time to let go and move forward. I know it's easier said than done, but here Saturn will give you this push and will help you to make this responsible decision, because Saturn is also about making important decisions that will impact many years of your life. This is about something long-term and long-lasting. So here Saturn will test your relationships, and as I said, the unhealthy ones are unlikely to last, but at the same time, relationships that were pretty healthy, pretty happy, they will also go through testing times, and it might be difficult. However, if you overcome the challenges, the situations that Saturn creates or circumstances, then your relationship will be even stronger. And you will see that the bond between you and the other person will be also more solid and stronger moving forward. So here, whatever the scenario here, the lessons will be here experienced, and testing times will occur here with Saturn's transit in the 7th house. At the same time, Saturn can make you feel limited and restricted in a relationship. So this is also a time of withdrawal and of kind of gaining an understanding of where is it that you want to go with this relationship. Even if you want to stay together, then you will still question your relationship, and you will still need time to yourself, either you or your partner, but definitely one or the other will feel slightly detached from one another. So, and if this relationship is strong, then it will survive, but perhaps it is important for kind of giving each other a little break, and that's all right. Now, on a different level here with Saturn, you might also attract, if you're single, partners that are older than you, that are perhaps wiser, who have a larger life experience, or perhaps those you might also attract those that might act like your teachers, your gurus. They might also come into your life and teach you valuable lessons, help you to make progress in your life. So here with Saturn in the 7th house, your relationships will be tested, but at the same time, this could be also a time when you might get engaged or you might get married. This is about becoming responsible, mature, and this is about kind of growing up while you are in a relationship, or becoming more serious. If you're single, you might really have this desire to find this significant other, but your taste might change, or your approach to love might change. You might want to become more serious, and you might prefer different type of individuals as well, perhaps different to what you usually used to go for. So here with Saturn in the 7th house, also this could be also a time when you start a new business, a business partnership with another person. So generally during this transit, you will learn a lot about yourself through relationships, and these might not be always the easiest times or experiences, but overall, the lessons of Saturn in the 7th house, the transit, is to learn about yourself through the relationships, is to learn to kind of relate to another more harmoniously, but also this is about building long-term relationships, and those relationships that lost its spark and purpose. It's Saturn will kind of show you that it's better to let go of them instead of hanging around and remain unhappy. Now, since Saturn is connected to career, it's a career planet, you might also be rewarded for your skills, for your talents, for your hard work throughout this transit. All right, so thank you very much, Virgos, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Libras, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming Saturn's transit in the sign of Pisces. And this transit will take place in your 6th house. So here the 6th house is connected to everyday routine, work, or health. So here with Saturn in the 6th house, oftentimes, well, Saturn can shrink anything that it touches. It's the opposite energy of Jupiter. So with Saturn here, you might experience weight loss as a result of your dietary choices, as a result of a lack of time for maintaining a healthy diet. Generally here, you might lose weight, your dietary choices might change. So it's really important to be aware of what you put into your body, because generally with the change of diet, you might also this might affect your body in a negative way. So here, if you neglect your diet, your bones might suffer, your teeth might suffer as well. So it's something to keep in mind. Here, Saturn wants you to bring more structure in your daily life, in your work life, in your diet. So if you experience some health issues or dental problems throughout this transit, this means that you need to change your diet. You need to perhaps make sure that you eat enough fruits and vegetables, generally that you maintain a healthy and well-balanced diet. Now, especially here, if you've been neglecting your body, your health, now during Saturn's transit, your body might let you know that something isn't right. And here, Saturn will really prompt you to make sure that you eat well, you eat healthily. Now, on a different level, Saturn in the 6th house really wants you to be more organized in your daily life. So your lifestyle might change. You might want to become more organized. You might want to change some activities, daily activities. Perhaps if you joined too many clubs, or if you kind of changed your interest over the last few years, then Saturn will really want you to take a close look and see what belongs in your daily life and what doesn't. How can you change your life to better structure your daily routine, to make the most of your time? At the same time, your responsibilities at your work might increase, and there could be challenges that you might experience with your co-workers. Here, especially issues that perhaps you neglected in the past. Now, these issues and dilemmas might become more apparent. But it's really important that you face the challenges that emerge with Saturn's transit in the 6th house, because if you neglect them or if you avoid them, then they will return later in life, and it might be even more challenging to approach them, and they might bring even more difficult outcomes. So here, every challenge, every difficulty that you face and overcome, even if you fail, here Saturn will reward it in the long term. Here with Saturn, this is about something long term, consistent. So here you're working consistently and responsibly under Saturn's watch to grow in your work sphere. So while some people might lose their jobs, other people might receive a recognition, increased responsibilities, you might move into a different department. Now at the same time, if you lose your job, then perhaps here that job didn't align with your purpose, that job perhaps didn't align with what you're supposed to be doing. So here Saturn will also force you to rethink your strategy. Perhaps you might change your job and change what you do or learn new skills. This is also the house of skills. So here, the skills that you use at your work, you might decide it's time to improve them. It's time to change them or learn new skills here in order to improve your work prospects, employment prospects as well. Now here with Saturn in the 6th house, this is also about your exercise regime. So you might, if you didn't exercise in the last few years, Saturn will certainly let you know that it's time to implement an exercise regime to make sure that your your mental health and your body are kind of aligned, and this is just to improve your well-being. Here you might experience a sense of burnout, or you might feel overworked at times, so it's really important that you do have this exercise regime in place, or perhaps that you at least walk, or generally that you are active, because if you purely dedicate this time to work, then you will see that your body is not reacting positively. So if you implement a healthy diet and exercise regime, or at least walking into your daily or weekly schedule, you will see that the transit of Saturn in the 6th house between 2023 and 2026 will bring more rewards and a greater satisfaction. All right, so thank you very much, Libras, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Scorpios, and welcome to your horoscope for Saturn's transit in Pisces, and this transit will occur in your 5th house. So the 5th house deals with gambling, with children, romance, holiday, rentals, creativity, fun, and generally also entertainment. So here with this transit, Saturn is the planet connected to very serious energies, and this is when we feel more responsible about about our children. When it comes to the 5th house, this is when we might find it difficult to relax, because we become very serious thinkers. We are focused on the serious matters in our life. So even if you take a holiday throughout this time, it might be difficult for you to relax, because some important situations, relationships, events will be going through your mind. So generally during this time, you take a very serious approach towards any interests, any personal projects, your business, your parenting style. Here, this is also the house of conception and children. So many Scorpios might also either contemplate having a child, or they might conceive. There is also a greater need for being a more disciplined or responsible parent. You take a greater you take parenting more seriously. It's not that you haven't done that until now, but here with Saturn in the fifth house, you take a very sober and an extra responsible approach as your parent, perhaps as a result of your children's changes in your children's behavior, and this might force you to implement new structures, new rules at your home, or perhaps change your parenting style, and so on. So here, this is one way of seeing that Saturn's transit in the fifth house. On a different level here, Saturn can bring limitations, restrictions in your love life, in your romantic sphere of life. So generally, romance might not come that easily. Perhaps if you've been seeing someone, dating someone, and this person wasn't really, you didn't feel that comfortable with this person, then this relationship is likely to dissolve. Here, Saturn will dissolve and make you let go of whatever doesn't work in your life. So this could be your your partner, your relationship, someone that you've been dating, or perhaps your hobbies, your interests, projects, ideas for the future. If they don't align with who you have become, who you want to become, then these ideas, these projects, these habits will have to move out from your life permanently. So here with Saturn in the fifth house, you might also start a new hobby, new interest, something that you've been perhaps wanting to do, but you never had time or generally mental energy, and this time around you might take a very serious approach. This is about something that you will do over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. So generally, whatever you start throughout this transit, this is likely to last for quite a while. So this could be a new hobby. If it's a new business, you might take a very serious approach to this business and change your approach, or you might want to master your skills. Now, there could be a certain degree of self-doubt initially, especially in the areas where you felt like you weren't performing that well. So here Saturn will stimulate you to improve your skills, to improve your ability to express yourself in a creative sense. This is about also reconnecting with your inner child. Now, it might be difficult to generally relax and be spontaneous throughout this transit, but perhaps this is a time when you really want to take a more sober approach into your hobbies, interests, any projects, any generally your own ideas might also take off, because your approach towards work might also change. Now, here with the fifth house, you might also attract partners who, especially if you're here single, who are older, who have a longer life experience. Saturn is connected to the old age. So this could be also the case for some people. Now, this isn't a very good time for gambling, for playing lotteries, because you might experience losses. Here, Saturn is connected to losses, so something to definitely keep in mind. But overall, this is about working hard and consistently on some long-term projects, long-term ideas connected to your personal life, something that you will do independently most likely, because this is happening in the lower part of the chart, the fifth house. So this is likely to be a project that is very personal to you. You might work on it on your own, or perhaps you might seek help from someone more experienced, or a coach, or some spiritual guru, whatever it is. Someone with more expertise might help you, might give you some valuable lessons or clues in how you can make better progress. All right, so thank you very much, Scorpios, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming Saturn's transit in the sign of Pisces. So here, this is happening in your fourth house, the lower part of the chart, a very private area of life. This is when we gain this need here with Saturn in the fourth house to establish a very solid and a firm foundation, home foundation. So here Saturn can bring limitations and restrictions to the home life. However, at the same time, you might really feel like you can no longer connect to your home, to your current home situation. So this can prompt many people with Sagittarius as their rising sign to relocate, to move to a different neighborhood, to change your community. Here, you generally seek to really establish your roots. However, if you don't connect to the place where you're currently living, Saturn might force you to relocate, to find a place where you will feel emotional fulfillment, where you will be able to connect emotionally. So here this could be the case. So here a relocation. Now here, if you do connect to your current home place, but still you don't like the interior design or the color of the walls, if they look dated, Saturn might also prompt you to change something at your home. So here this is about restructuring the home environment. So this could be related to renovations, painting of the walls, changing the furniture, changing of the radiators, flooring, and so on. Now here on a different level, this could be related also to generally to buying a property, selling a property. However, bear in mind, Saturn can bring delays, so perhaps you might have to wait longer for the sale to take place as a result of external influences, for instance. But overall, here with Saturn, there could be delays, there could be some limitations, but overall, this could be connected to a change of residence, house move, relocation, or perhaps generally changing, rearranging your furniture or renovating your home. So generally changes at your home. Now, if you've been neglecting some home-related responsibilities over the last few months or years even, then Saturn's transit in the 4th house here will bring these issues back into the surface, and you will have to deal with them. And it's really important to face the challenges that occur throughout Saturn's transits, because if you don't deal with them, if you don't fix these issues this time around, they will keep coming back and they will bring even more challenging situations, circumstances, and financial losses. So it's really important to take a responsible and a mature approach to your home situation, to your family foundation. Now here with Saturn's transit, this is also related to, or for some people, I'm giving you some examples, you might feel lonely. You might feel disconnected from your family. And you might feel like you can't rely on anyone because they can't understand you, because they can't put themselves in your situation. So here this disconnection, detachment from family, feeling that you don't belong might also be the case here. And perhaps this is also a time of maturity, of growth, and of you kind of understanding your role in your family. So you might be going also through kind of like a process or a phase of maturity, of understanding yourself on a deeper level, and generally understanding your place within your family circle. Now this transit, of course, will depend on your age, because if you have your own family, your own children, then you might feel like you can't connect to your parents, to your uncles, your cousins, your brothers. You might feel disconnected from them temporarily. So it really depends on your circumstances, on your age, but oftentimes Saturn transit in the 4th house can make one feel like they feel lonely and detached from their family, from their roots. Now you might be also very interested about your heritage, about your where you come from, your family tree, your family roots. So this is also the time when you might want to check your DNA and see if you can find more people in the world who connect to you, who connect to your roots. This is quite popular apparently these days. Now with Saturn in the 4th house, you might be also haunted by the past. So there could be some regrets or memories from the past coming back into you. Now here Saturn in Pisces in the 4th house wants you to let go of the past and accept certain situations, events that occurred, because you can't change the past. However, you can influence your future. So this is what's also important here with Saturn. You're building something for the future. Here, whatever you build throughout this transit will greatly impact your career life in 14 years from now. Now, here with the 4th house transit also, this is a time when you might be very busy at your home and you might not be as successful in your career life, in your public life, but generally career growth might not come that easily throughout this transit. So don't get discouraged, because this could be because the energies, the focus need to be at this point in your life, in your home life, in your family life as well. All right, Sagittarius, so thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to your horoscope for Saturn's transit in the sign of Pisces. So here, this transit will occur in your 3rd house. The 3rd house deals with your intellect, with your rational thinking, curiosity, but also with your immediate surroundings, short distance travel, the relationship that you have with your siblings, with your cousins, and next of kin. So here with Saturn transiting your 3rd house, this could be connected to you wanting to learn and study. So you might start new courses of study that could be related to a new career, a new business. So there is this need to master a certain skill, a certain subject or topic. And this is a fantastic time for taking advantage of these energies, because Saturn makes you a very sober thinker. You are able to focus your thoughts, your mind, and study effectively and consistently. So really, if you want to study something, if you want to take a short course of study to learn new skills, improve your existing skills, take this transit as an opportunity for doing so. I remember when Saturn transited my 3rd house, I studied a lot of astrology, and it came actually very easily, and it was very rewarding at the same time. However, on the other hand, Saturn can also make you self-doubt your intellect, self-doubt yourself, and you might feel like you're not intelligent enough, or you don't know enough. So generally, negative thinking is also one of the manifestations of this transit. So perhaps you might compare yourself to others, to those who have a vast experience in the field of topic that you are about to study. However, this is not the way to go. You shouldn't compare yourself. Carry on with whatever that you want to study, and at some point in the future, because Saturn is about something long-term, so long-term goal or idea, you will also be able to master this skill, master this topic or subject. But here Saturn can definitely make you self-doubt yourself and make you feel like you don't know enough. So there could be this kind of negative thinking. But also, if you do experience these thoughts, these negative thoughts, take it as a valuable lesson and move forward. Don't let these thoughts discourage you or demotivate you. Now, with Saturn in the 3rd house also, this could create conflict with your siblings and cousins. This could make you feel more detached, especially if things haven't been going well, but perhaps nothing was done about it. Here, Saturn will bring these issues up into the surface, and it's really important that you try to resolve these issues as they happen, because if you don't, then they are unlikely to be to resolve on their own. The conflict will carry on. So here it's really essential with Saturn to face the challenges as they emerge, because this way we grow as individuals, as soul beings. Otherwise, this issue will escalate to something more serious. Now with Saturn here, Saturn is connected to career, also to professional life growth. So you might study at this time, as I mentioned earlier, but you might also travel. You might travel, and this travel could be connected to your work, to your career, or perhaps to your increased family responsibilities. This could be also the case. Now, here with Saturn, you might also take a more sober approach when connecting with people from your community. And you might also be more selective about these connections, relationships. Generally, communication might be a bit of a struggle. And if you generally struggle with communication, you might really have this strong need to improve your writing, to improve your communication. You might feel like writing and blogging or journaling, but at the same time, you might have this need to improve your communication skills or language skills. Now, this is also the area related to tests. So you might take up on some tests like driving. You might decide you want to get a driving license. This could be also the case. Here with the third house, this is also about, this is also about writing a book or building a website for your business. Or generally here, this is also about spending a lot of time doing things that are intellectually stimulating. So you might also become a more serious thinker, a more serious communicator throughout this time. All right, so this is what I've got for you. Now let's move into the next sign, and this is Aquarius. All right, so hello Aquarius and welcome. Now this transit of, Saturn's transit in Pisces will take place in your second house. So this is about your financial situation, financial growth, but also your self-esteem and self-worth. So this will also greatly depend on how you dealt with your finances up until now, what you did throughout the transit of Saturn in Aquarius in the last 2.5 years. If you started a new business or a new goal, new idea, here Saturn, with Saturn you can move forward, carry on, and perhaps become more responsible, consistent, and let this idea grow in a financial sense. So here with Saturn in the second house, here in Pisces, this is about moving away also from some misconceptions, anything that affects your self-esteem and self-worth and your ability to accumulate more wealth and build a well-structured and financially secure life. So the second house is about, here with Saturn involved, this is about becoming self-reliant, self-sufficient as well in this financial sphere. So here Saturn, on one hand, Saturn can bring losses. However, on the other hand, Saturn dissolves in Pisces whatever isn't working, whatever doesn't belong in our lives in the long term. The way you experience this transit will greatly depend on how you dealt with your finances up until now. If you are responsible and if you manage your finances well, Saturn will reward you here. This transit will positively aspect your 10th house by a trine. So there could be financial growth, and at the same time, this could also increase your finances and improve your financial situation. Not maybe initially or immediately, but here with Saturn, this is about remaining consistent and patient, and Saturn will reward this well-disciplined and well-structured work. So here with Saturn in the second house, this is about working consistently towards a long-term goal. Now, this could be related to a promotion. This could be connected to a new work, new job, a new source of income, a new business. Here you have to become more responsible and more disciplined about whatever that you do throughout this transit. Here Saturn will reward you accordingly. Now, if you haven't yet established yourself in the financial sense, if you lived a carefree lifestyle, then perhaps you might experience some financial losses in the initial phase of this transit, only to learn valuable lessons. So here Saturn might bring limitations and might also create circumstances, situations when you will have to learn to be more disciplined and better organized with your finances. But these lessons will be very valuable for you in the long term. Now, it's really important that you face the challenges that occur throughout this time and you don't take any shortcuts, because these problems, financial problems, will come back to you if you don't resolve them during Saturn's transit in the second house. Now, on a different level here, this is also about your self-esteem and self-worth. Now, for some Aquarius, this self-esteem, your self-esteem might be decreased initially as a result of a loss of a job, or perhaps a loss of a business, or perhaps generally your business might not move forward in as quickly as you would have hoped. But here it's really important not to lose hope and remain consistent and patient, because here Saturn will bring limitations. Now, on a positive note, here Saturn might also help you to learn new skills, to learn new talents, which will then help you to grow financially and grow in your career. Now, for those who are just starting your career, you might also start an apprenticeship. That could also be a valuable phase, a lesson in your career growth in the long term. Now, with Saturn transiting your second house, this is also about taking a deeper look at your personal values. Your personal values might also change, or you might redefine them throughout this time. Generally, you want to move away from people, activities, situations that lower your self-esteem and self-worth, because if these activities lower your self-esteem, it also blocks you and makes it difficult for you to move forward and make progress in your life. Now, with Saturn in the second house is also the house that rules whatever we put into our body. So you might also change your dietary choices, might change, you might lose weight. It's really essential that you are conscious about your diet, and it's important to maintain a healthy diet, because then this could also impact your health and well-being. So here, the second house transit of Saturn might bring limitations and delays. At the same time, Saturn will try in your career life. So this is also an opportunity for working on long-term goals and long-term plans that could benefit your career growth in the future. At the same time, you will be making important decisions to improve your financial situation moving forward. All right, so thank you very much, and let's move into Pisces. Hello Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope for Saturn's transit in Pisces in your sign. This is a very important transit for you specifically because it's happening in your sign. So here many Pisces will go through life-changing experiences. This could be related to you welcoming a child, so childbirth, becoming a parent, moving into a different career, changing jobs, relocating, getting married, establishing yourself in the outside world. So here, this is a very serious time, a time of maturity. You might feel old at times, you might feel like you aging, and you will be more aware of the changes in your appearance. So this is very normal, very natural when Saturn transits your sign, your first house, because the first house is the house of your appearance, of self-image. And when Saturn, the sign connected to the old age, transits this house, you feel old, you feel weak, and sometimes even drained. So here with Saturn in the first house, you are likely to lose weight, because Saturn will either kind of decrease your appetite, will change your dietary choices. You might only feel like kind of having little portions or different kind of foods that are not fatty. Saturn rules teeth and bones. So if you don't maintain a healthy diet, you will have problems with your teeth or perhaps your bones, so you might have to go to the dentist. So here, a healthy diet full of minerals and important vitamins, nutritions will be essential. All right, so here we go. Now, on a different level, if you feel old, if you feel like you're aging, do something that will kind of make you feel young. So perhaps pamper yourself, or you can do a facial or change your hairstyle, or generally wearing bright colors might also help to kind of make you feel more alive as well, because you will be aware of your age. You might think a lot about mortality or death or an old age as well. Right, so here with Saturn in the first house, you become mature. It's a new kind of phase, 29-year cycle in your life. This is about starting something also new, setting yourself new goals, but this is about being responsible. This is about self-discovery, learning about yourself on a deeper level, and soul searching. You might feel lost. You might feel like you don't identify with your old self anymore. And this is like a rebirth in a way. So here, when I had Saturn transiting my first house a few years ago, astrology helped me a lot through my self-discovery, self-understanding, and also now you might feel sometimes like you lack energy, or perhaps you might feel like generally you don't believe in yourself, low self-esteem. This is also very natural here with this Saturn's transit in the first house. So here it's really essential that you take time to truly understand yourself, and this will also help you to set yourself new goals, because you might also enter a new career, a new course of study. For example, this is about really a rebirth of the self, becoming more mature, setting important goals, life goals for the future, and building this solid and firm foundation of yourself, of your personality, of your self-image. So this is about finding new goals, new hobbies, new interests. This is also about a life review, a very interesting phase of life indeed. Now, many Pisces or Pisceans might also become parents, as I mentioned before. You are entering very mature and serious waters here, so to speak, very serious energies. It's important that you face the challenges that emerge and experiences at this time without avoiding them, without delaying them, because they will come back and it will be more difficult to deal with them. So generally with Saturn here, if you face the challenges that are produced by Saturn's transit, you will grow, you will also develop as a person, as an individual, as a soul being. And this will also help you to make better progress in your life. So here, self-discovery, you will be making important decisions, you will be also doing a lot of self-improvement, and you'll be moving away from some old habits, anything that doesn't belong in your life anymore, anything that's lost in spark and purpose. All right, so thank you very much, Pisces. Here we reach the final sign for this forecast. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until the next time, bye for now.